and welcome to Maps and Graps. Thank you, everybody who's tuned in. It's been a very interesting week in the world of pro wrestling. There's tons to talk about, and I think that some of us are probably exhausted of hearing about um, a lot of the discourse, and I can promise that this is not that type of show where we're going to talk about like a whole bunch of discourse. Like this is all about maps and graps. We're covering wrestling all over the world, and that's the only thing that matters. And so I'm super excited to get into everything that's on the docket for today. We have Nagoya Golden Fight. We have Destruction in Ryogoku. We have Dynamite. We have the New Japan Stardom presentation to get into. And a lot of other upcoming stuff, including the Super Junior Tag League lineup was just announced today, which is super exciting. If you can't tell, I am very excited about Super Junior Tag League, and I think that is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. So, earlier this week, well, this past weekend, obviously, Destruction in Ryogoku happened, and we had a lot of matches. Some of these matches I didn't put up on the slide. Not because I couldn't find any pictures, but because I'm gonna be honest, I have no intention of covering them, and that's probably one, the Chase Owens match, and then two, the Sonata Evil match. If you know me, if you've watched any of my content, you know that I am a House of Torture hater through and through. And I grew tired of all of the belt stealing nonsense, House of Torture versus just five guys, that nonsense. I've been fed up for a very long time. Um, and so I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even watch the last match, but there were so many other great matches that excited to go ahead and get into. Um, um, so yeah, let's go ahead and do it. And starting from the corner of the screen, the left corner of the screen, obviously we had Tamatanga and David Finlay going head to head yet again for the Never Openweight Championship. I will say I was not originally super thrilled by this match just because these two had definitely gone head to head before. But I will say I did enjoy the match. I might have actually enjoyed it more than their first one. It's cool that Tamatanga has once again won the title, but I am interested to see like actually what's next. There was a lot of title changes on this particular show, and so I am interested to see what is next for Bullet Club because yeah, we're gonna get to that moving on to the next one and more about Bullet Club. These are the only people in Bullet Club who actually retained um, during the Destruction and Ryogoku show, and that is Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney, the Bullet Club War Dogs. I am a huge fan of this team. I've been a fan of them separately for a while now, but definitely them as a team. As soon as they got together during Best of the Super Juniors 30, they had a great chemistry. And every single time they've gotten into the ring together, you can tell that these two really have something special. And so it's super exciting to see them continue to kill it up against the Intergalactic Jet Setters, who are the former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champions. They had won the belts earlier this year, and also they dropped them to TJP and Francesco Akira, who obviously were the ones that Clark Connors and Dan Maloney had to beat to become champions. And so this match is the best match that I've seen the Intergalactic Jet Setters have in New Japan so far, which has me super excited because obviously we're heading to the Super Junior Tag League. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But this was amazing. I just had to get two pictures from this match onto the slide deck because look at that beautiful drop kick. Like, and look how high it is. I think that Kevin Knight has been outstanding. And especially over this summer working in Impact definitely helped. And I say the same thing for Kushida as well, even though like obviously he's the longtime veteran. But I do believe that that time in Impact really helped those guys continue to like get reps in, and they just came back as such like a so much more of a crisper team, and it really shows. And I am super excited to see like what they do next in Super Junior Tag League, even though they didn't get the win here. But it's very clear that as a team, I think that their chemistry is better than ever. And so I'm super excited, and I'm excited for the run that Clark Connors and Dan Maloney are having right now, because it looks like they're the only people, the David Finley Bullet Club is all about bringing gold or bringing bodies. And right now, they're the only ones who are bringing gold. And so that are going to be a very interesting storyline to follow throughout Super Junior Tag League as well, which we will get to. Also, we had the never open weight 6-man titles were retained by Kazuchika Okada, Hiroshi Tanahashi, who was sporting a very snazzy new hairdo, by the way. I always love seeing the ace of the universe, give us different styles. He gets it, and he always has gotten it, and he always will get it. As well as Tomohiro Ishii. They retained against Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, the Motor City Machine Guns, and Josh Alexander, who came all the way over to Japan specifically for this match. It was pretty good, obviously. I've said it once and I've said it before. It's kind of insane how the Motor City Machine Guns are still Impact's greatest asset to this day. And I mean that in a good way, because like I grew up really loving them, and the fact that they're still like, as sharp as ever. And they're still just fantastic wrestlers. They really did, I would say, like made a huge difference and paved the way. And so I was really excited to see them in New Japan, and obviously it was really great to see Josh Alexander healthy. And so this team, obviously, they have a lot. There's a lot of history there, and a lot of storylines even on the Impact side, because obviously Josh Alexander and Alex Shelley, who is the current Impact World Champion, will be facing each other for the Impact World Championship at Bound for Glory. That card is actually pretty stacked. I'm really excited about it. Also on that card is Will Ospreay versus Speedball Mike Bailey, which is going to be an instant classic, as well as Trinity versus Mickey James for the Knockouts Championship, so World Championship. So it's going to be really great. And Alex Shelley got pinned here, which I was not expecting, especially with him being a world champion. But hey, I feel like it was just kind of like a dream match in its own way. So I can live with that. But yeah, so the dream team continues to roll on. I think it's insane that Kazuchika Okada has become a multi-man match specialist this year, and he's been really, really good at it. All of his tag matches and 6-man matches, like especially the ones for the title or in like a marquee spot, they've been really, really, really good this year. And so I think both him, Tanahashi, and of course Ishii, who's super solid, really did, like, I feel like, settle into this role, and they are really making the best out of it. And I've really enjoyed their 6-man run, but it is going to be interesting because now we are in October, which means that we are well in the thick of it on the road to Wrestle Kingdom. And so what that means is, even though these guys are all 6-man champs, it's very obvious that these 3 are also still very legitimate single stars for the company. So I'm going to be interested to see what they will be doing at Wrestle Kingdom, because I highly doubt they're going to be in a 6-man match, particularly Okada. I expect him to either have like a marquee match with like Bryan Danielson or something, please God, or like, some other opponent. Maybe he'll finally get that match with Kaito Kiyomiya. Maybe he'll take on like, one of these recently graduated young lions who are looking to prove themselves against him. The possibilities are endless. I think it's interesting to see what does Okada look like at Wrestle Kingdom in this iteration of his career outside of the title picture. And so for the first time, I think like he's finally dibbling and dabbling and all the other, the titles that New Japan has to offer. And don't get me, and trust me, there is a lot of titles in New Japan, sometimes to their detriment. But that's just, where they are. So it's interesting. I'm interested to see if he challenges for a title, if he goes for a dream match. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I wouldn't be surprised though if like the 6-man titles were defended at New Year's Dash, maybe the day afterwards. I think that'll make a lot more sense. But I don't expect on that big January 4th show for the never 6-man openweight titles to be defended unless they happen to drop them beforehand and so somebody else defends them. So that's really like the only scenario that I see as of right now. But like I said, they retained. Moving forward, obviously, just 5 guys who dropped down to just 4 guys after Yoshinobu Kanemaru, made a shock switch over to House of Torture, much to my disgust. So just 5 guys became just 4 guys once again. And they had been teasing that they had a new member that was going to join. And at the Destruction of Ryogoku, obviously, immediately, a lot of people assumed that it was going to be Yuya Uemura, who was a returning graduated young lion, because obviously Yuya went to Impact Wrestling on excursion. And very recently, during the Impact 1000 celebration, they did a Feast or Fired, and obviously Yuya got the Fired briefcase, which was the perfect way to write him off of Impact and send him back home to New Japan. So it's going to be very interesting. And we were all right. He was the new member of just 5 guys. He is a member of the team. He has joined Sanada, Doki, Taichi, and Taka Michinoku. And so Yuya is the new 5th guy, but also Yuya has a lot to prove as well. He's the last of the young lions of that era to come back home. And so we have Yota Tsuji, we have Ren Narita, we have Shota Umino, we have from the LA Dojo side, we have Gabe Kidd, we have Alex Coughlin, we have Clark Connors, we have Kevin Knight, we have all of these, we have Kosei Fujita, who's on his world tour. We have a lot of great talent of recently graduated young lions who are very eager to prove themselves. And so it's going to be interesting to see where Yuya fits in that dynamic, because it feels like all of them already are starting to like fit in to their different corners of where they belong. And where they're going to be situated on the card, or like at least for like the foreseeable future in New Japan. And so I'm excited to see more from Yuya. I'm interested to see what's going to be his first singles match, so we can really see like what he can do, in the New Japan ring. And so it's going to be very interesting to see what's next for him. We had the New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team titles changed hands. And so the defending champions, Alex Coughlin and Gabe Kidd, actually lost to the Gorillas of Destiny, represented by El Phantasmo and Hikuleo. And so that was really cool to see El Phantasmo win gold in New Japan. He's been a career resurgence ever since being ousted from Bullet Club, and he's been on this incredible face run where he's been embraced just about by any audience that he comes in front of. And so it's been extremely cool to see him continue to like grow and evolve and connect with fans both stateside and abroad. And it's working for him. And now he's a champion alongside Hikuleo, who has also been pretty impressive this year. So I'm really happy for them. I think that they're going to be great champions to defend those belts. There's 2 New Japan Strong shows that are coming up in the U.S. And so I expect these guys to be on both of them. So that is the Fighting Spirit and Elise show. This is going to be in Las Vegas, as well as the Lone Star Shootout show, which is taking place in Dallas in November. And so lots of excitement there. And with the titles changing hands, like I said, Bullet Club lost big on at the Destruction and Ryogoku. They lost the never open weight the never open weight championship. They also lost those New Japan Strong open weight tag team championships. And so, like I said, the only people who are really champions right now are Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney. Also, we saw the end of the best of 7 series come to an end. The Minoru Suzuki, Ren Narita, El Desperado versus Shota Umino, Master Wato, and Yuji Nagata. Listen, listen, this was beautiful. Like, this was beautiful. These people have been beating each other up and down Japan for like the last couple months, and it's been hilarious. And it's funny because, like, obviously Shota and Ren are in the new generation. They're the two out of three of the Reiwa Musketeers. You have Wato being positioned as the new face of the juniors, and El Desperado is the old guard in the junior heavyweight division. And then you have you have Yuji Nagata and you have Minoru Suzuki, who have literally been duking it out for decades, and they are the literal definition of fight forever. And they are showing the new generation how to get the job done. And so these guys just beat the hell out of each other as they do. It was really, 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 really fun. I enjoyed it. And it really ended in they're technically 3-3-1, a draw. So technically, nobody won. But what's important is the friends we made along the way. So I say all this to say that was absolutely beautiful. There were so many shows of respect afterwards. Shota and Ren shook hands, and then Yuji Nagata and Minoru Suzuki just chopped each other as a sign of respect, and then they hug and they fist bump after literally defining the words "murder grandpas." It's been beautiful. So this was a really fun part of the show. I really, really, really enjoyed it. And then what I'll say is one of the most noteworthy things, obviously, sadly, Lio Rush was sick and was unable to compete in the highly anticipated 3-way match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, which was originally supposed to be Lio Rush and Mike versus Speedball Mike Bailey versus the reigning champion Hiromu Takahashi. So his replacement was his tag team partner Yo, who is obviously the co-winner of the Super Junior Tag League from last year. Lio Rush and Yo, and they've been a really great team, and I think that they've really helped each other really like find themselves in their character. I think especially for Lio Rush this year, hoping that he feels well soon, and I hope to see him, finally get his shot in winning the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, hopefully at Wrestle Kingdom. So we shall see. But Yo actually replaced Lio. And the match was still really, 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 really good. But obviously, Hiromu Takahashi gets the win. I think he's up to V6, which means that he's gotten 6 defenses. He's had 6 title defenses, and he wants to get to 12. And so he's pretty much well on his way. I have enjoyed this Hiromu Takahashi IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship run. It's actually, I think it might be his best. He has just really put the team on his back this year. He's been doing it all from media to appearances. He does the U.S. dates. He does the Japanese dates. He's been doing Dragon Gate. He's been doing all these different things. And I think Hiromu Takahashi is just an international treasure. But there was a surprise at the end. And the surprise was the returning Taiji Ishimori, who I love, who I think is absolutely outstanding. I think that Taiji Ishimori is incredible, and I was extremely, extremely worried and upset when he was injured during the Best of the Super Juniors 30 tournament early this summer. And It was a scary situation because it seemed like it was a neck/spinal issue, and so I'm really glad that he's okay. And I'm glad that he's back. And so he returned, and he's made it very clear that he wants that IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship back. And so these guys always make magic together. So I know that the sky is the limit for them, and I'm super excited to see that eventual singles match. Maybe we'll get it at Power Struggle. Who knows? But it's going to be a fun time no matter what. But the most noteworthy thing overall, even though we already knew this, that we were heading towards this, because if Evil had managed to win that championship, to be honest, I would have had to probably put down New Japan Pro Wrestling for a minute because no. But that didn't happen, thankfully. Sonata retains, and it looks like the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 18 is now set. We will have the defending champion Sonata versus the winner of the G1 Climax 33 tournament this year, Tetsuya Naito, with his contract written on a tote bag. He's been waiting on this moment for a very long time, and it's finally happening. Let me tell you, as a person who is fortunately going to be in the building, I cannot wait. And that LIJ roll call is going to hit like crack. I literally get emotional just thinking about it. I'm just so excited. That LIJ roll call. Oh my God. It's going to be special. So the match is made. Sonata finally got that belt back. That was very embarrassing. We should never do that again. Like that whole House of Torture setup. We should never do that again. But here we are. And so we're going well. And I'm excited for this main event. I think it's going to probably be Naito's last time probably in the main event like this at Wrestle Kingdom. So it's going to be really special. It's going to be extremely special. And I think that we're all going to be very appreciative when the title comes off of Sonata. I'm glad that he got his run in the sun. I am really glad that he got his run in the sun. Like, I like Sonata. I think I'm glad that he got the opportunity, but long term, he's not the champion that I think we need to go into the future. And that's okay. You know, like, we tried it. Sometimes things just don't work. And, you know, he's held it for a while. Like, it's been a respectable run. He's essentially held it since the New Japan Cup. Like, you know, no harm, no foul. I feel the same way about MJF right now. Just, he's held the title a year. Almost like it's time to come up off that belt, buddy. And that's okay. Like, there's no shame in that. We shouldn't drag things out too long. But as promised, the Super Junior Tag League lineup is out. The tournament is going to start very, very soon. And it's going to kick off on October 21st. And so this is super exciting. The teams that are on the card for this year are Yo and a mystery partner X, Kushida and Kevin Knight, the Intergalactic Jet Setters, Ryusuke Taguchi and the DKC. We have El Desperado and Master Wato. Wow. We have Doki and Taka Michinoku. We have Bushi and Titan coming back from CMLL. I'm so excited to see Titan. He had a great Best of the Super Juniors. Obviously, he went all the way to the final. And so I'm excited to see Titan back in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He is awesome. And we also have TMDK represented by Robbie Eagles and Ishiban's Sweet Boy, Kosei Fujita. That's going to be super exciting. We have obviously Catch 22, TJP and Francesco Akira. We have the Bullet Club War Dogs and the defending IWGP Junior Tag Team Champions, and Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney. And sadly, we have House of Torture, we have Sho, and we have Yoshinobu Kanemaru. So this is a really great lineup. My favorite teams heading into this are I think obviously I love Robbie Eagles and Kosei Fujita. I think Clark Connors and Drillin Maloney are awesome. I think that Kushida and Kevin Knight are awesome, and I think that they're really going to. I think that they are going to have a very standout performance in the Tag Junior Tag League. If everybody just stays healthy, I really believe that they are going to have an outstanding performance in Super Junior Tag League. And I don't know who Yo's partner is, but if his partner is Lio Rush, everybody watch out, because I think it's going to be absolutely something to keep your eye on. I mean, Yo is a great wrestler. I think obviously he'll be great no matter who he's paired with, but the team of him and Leo is really great and is always outstanding. Obviously, they're the winners, the defending winners of Super Junior Tag League from last year. And so I'm excited. These matchups are going to be great. We're going to get we're going to have a rematch of the match that we saw at Destruction and Ryogoku, which was Kushida and Kevin Knight versus Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney on October 25th. We're going to get a rematch. And so there's just a lot of interesting matchups here. And I think that it's really a balanced card now. There are a few people that are missing that I would have liked to see, but most of them are outside teams. I would have loved to see the Rascals. I wanted to see the Rascals from Impact. I think Trey Miguel and Anthony Wentz would have been great. Not Anthony, sorry, Zachary Wentz would have been great. I think that they would have really provided a different style and a different flavor to Super Junior Tag League, but I understand like they're not actually New Japan talent, like they're Impact talent. So they might not have, had the time to like make the commitment to a tournament like this, because, it is like about 2-3 weeks. So that's completely understandable. And the only other team that I really wanted for Super Junior Tag League that was not on here was, I really did want East West Express, which is Nick Wayne and Jordan Oliver. One, they're a great team. Two, they're super young, and I think like getting this experience early would have been really great for them. But I mean, they still have all the time in the world. And three, they actually had a killer match at All Star Junior Fest USA in Philadelphia in August. I was fortunate to be there when it was East West Express, Nick Wayne and Jordan Oliver versus El Desperado and Mao from DDT. And it was an incredible match. And I was just like, whoo, like these guys should be in Super Junior Tag League. And so I know that Nick Wayne has a lot going on right now in AEW. He's involved in this super hot feud that I'm a huge fan of, by the way, with, Christian and Adam Copeland, Luchasaurus, and that whole bit. So I do understand like that he might not have the time to do everything, but I really would have loved to see him and Jordan Oliver in this tournament. And like I said, like, they're super young. There's more than enough time for them to try to do this. But just like, what I like to see. And also, like I said, super excited for LIJ, TMDK in this tournament. And so we're going to see. We're going to see. It's just going to be a really fun ride. My sleep schedule is going to be crap, but that's just typically how it is when you love Japanese wrestling, and the time zones never really match up with the West, and so that's completely understandable. Moving forward, also that took place over the last few days was the New Japan Stardom presentation, business presentation, joint strategy presentation. For those of you who don't know, both New Japan Pro Wrestling and Stardom are both owned by the same parent company, which is Bushiroad. And so they are, it was decided that they would do their strategy presentation together. The representatives from both companies had 3 representatives, typically a nod to both their past, present, and future. And so they had Shota Umino, Master Wato, and Hiroshi Tanahashi representing New Japan Pro Wrestling. And there was Mayu Iwatani, Julia, and Natsupoi wanted to represent Stardom, World Wonder Ring Stardom. And so there was a lot of interesting things that came out of this presentation. I'm not going to 100% get into all of them. I and Sierra Reed held a very, very, very thorough and great, respectful space on Twitter a few days ago, when this news first broke about, just the entire landscape of Joshi wrestling and women's wrestling, both in Japan and America, and just the implications of obviously the news that there's going to be a separate Stardom show directly before Wrestle Kingdom at Tokyo Dome City Hall. However, there is no Stardom involvement anticipated for Wrestle Kingdom. And so it's been a lot of talk about, does this make the IWGP Women's Championship null and void? Like, when does it actually stand for anything? Simply because Mayu Iwatani has only defended the title once. She defended it once in August after winning it on April 23rd of this year, has only defended it once and only defended it in Japan. And obviously we were told originally that this title would be defended all over the world, against, competitors from, different promotions and things like that. And it was supposed to be defended specifically on New Japan shows. And so we haven't seen a lot of that outside of the US, when Mercedes Moné was the champion. But apparently that's going to change soon, because Mayu Iwatani has been announced to defend her IWGP Women's Championship at Lone Star Shootout in Dallas, Texas on November 10th. Now, what's the difference between that and the New Japan Strong Championship that Julia is holding? I don't know. And also Mayu doesn't know. She said publicly that she does not know the difference. Because it seemed as if when they made the New Japan Strong belt that the IWGP belt was going to be defended more so in Japan, and the New Japan Strong belt was going to be defended in Strong in America. And I mean, to this point, the New Japan Strong belt has been defended like 3 or 4 times by Julia, and one of those times actually was in the U.S., and she's already scheduled to defend again in the U.S. By the end of this month against Hyan at Fighting Spirit Unleashed in Vegas. So it's been really convoluted. A lot of people have been wondering, what does this mean for Mercedes Moné at Wrestle Kingdom if there's no Stardom involvement? But as has been explicitly basically spelled out numerous times since she decided to make her debut in New Japan Pro Wrestling, she is a New Japan talent, not a Stardom talent. And so maybe she's excluded, and I hope that she is. And so maybe that New Japan Strong Women's Championship will be the title belt that's on the line at Wrestle Kingdom. And, I've long said on my Twitter that I believe that a match like Mercedes Moné versus Julia should be saved for the biggest possible stage, and that is Wrestle Kingdom. And I think that those two women having a marquee match at the Tokyo Dome, and if they're given time, I truly believe that this will be a watershed moment for both women's wrestling and just wrestling as a whole. And I think it will completely change the game. And I really hope that New Japan pulls the trigger on that match at Wrestle Kingdom, because I feel like we need those two women in the dome. And don't get me wrong, the All Stardom show that's going to happen before Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th is going to slap. It's going to be awesome. And I can't wait to go. I can't wait to see it. But that match specifically of Mercedes and Julia, we need that at Wrestle Kingdom, because it's proven that these women are a draw. And it's proven that specifically Mercedes, she can not just move ticket sales, but international viewership on the New Japan foreign products. She can make that happen. And so I just hope that New Japan does the right thing. Like I said, I'm going to stay off of it as far as doom posting or anything like that. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to be patient and hope that the right thing is done. But if it's not, trust me, you'll hear from me again. But this is where we are with the New Japan Stardom presentation. I think that everybody else should you should go read through it for yourself. There's a lot of great things in there talking about revenues and how many shows that both companies are doing and how many that they plan to keep doing. They also like have expanded. They announced their intentions to expand more into Asia and do more shows in other countries in Asia, both in New Japan and Stardom. And so I highly recommend going through the strategy presentation and reading it for yourself to understand like what both companies are thinking heading into next year. They also announced that there will be another historic crossover show between Stardom and New Japan Pro Wrestling. It just would not be happening this year, but it's expected to happen early next year. So lots of great announcements. I recommend go reading it for yourself. There was also this weekend Nagoya Golden Fight with Stardom, and a lot went down. Okay. So just like some simple results out the way, we had Izumi and Saori did a first time matchup, and they did not disappoint. This match was absolutely excellent. These two, they are great wrestlers in their own right, and seeing them go head to head was absolutely awesome. Mirai defended the Wonder of Stardom white belt against Momo Watanabe. Listen, I'm not a huge Mirai fan, but this match was really good. And I will be honest, like the lariat at the end was nasty. It was nasty. One of the best lariats that I have seen this year by anybody. Absolutely incredible. That was a really good match. We also saw Kairi had her last voyage in Stardom. It was a tag team. It was a 6-woman tag team match. It was Kaguma, Saya and Hazuki versus Nene, Takahashi, Kairi, and Mayu Iwatani. Both of whom are very special to Kairi. This was a really good 6-woman match. They gave it a lot of time, and I will say I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was a great match. I just don't understand why Kairi got the pin here. Like, I do believe that I wish that she had put somebody over on her way out, and I think that it would have been really, it could have really helped put some of the younger talent over. But hey, like, I'm not going to dwell on it. Like I said, it was a great match. I do wish her the best and whatever is next for her. And I enjoyed her her return to Stardom. I just wish I wish that we had gotten a few more matches and like some more things. But it is what it is, and I'm just glad that we got those moments, some of those special moments, at all. Especially those matches between her versus Mayu Iwatani, as well as her match versus Mercedes Moné. And so we could just take what we could get, and that's fine. We had May Sarah. She defeated Saki Kashima. Obviously, like, May had this bit going on that she was just showing up after everybody's title matches and asking for, can I get a shot? Can I get a shot? And kept getting turned down and getting told no. And then when May teamed up with Suzu to challenge the Goddess of Stardom tag champs, and then lost, Saki came to be like, funny and was just like laughing. It was just like, I'll give you a shot now because you're a loser. And guess what? May won. And she's a champion now. And she's a great high-speed champion. And I'm so excited for her. And I think that she has had an incredible Stardom run. And she has just continued to prove her worth in every single match that she's had. Same as Suzu, obviously. And I'm just really happy for her. And I'm excited to see what she does next. We had a very interesting 6-woman tag match for the Artists of Stardom belts. Woo! It was the reigning champions Julia, Tekla, and Mai Sakurai versus Megan Bayne, Micah and Suzu Suzuki. And so I was really excited for this match. It ended up being a lot shorter than I thought because the girlies started beefing. Suzu and Micah were not getting along on absolutely anything. You know, they used to be like the twins, like they used to be thick as thieves. They really worked well together, but obviously those two were in the final together of the 5-star GP. And Micah lost to Suzu. Suzu became the youngest winner of the 5-star Grand Prix tournament, and Micah has been bitter about it ever since. And in this match, it finally bubbled over, and they just started fighting and going at it and just screaming. And Julia was caught in the middle, and Micah stormed out, and Julia had to go after her, and then they arguing backstage, as you see, and then everybody's just mad, and Micah just starts yelling at the camera and talks about like how she hates Suzu. She wishes she never came to Stardom, and she's gonna beat her up. And it's just been a lot. There's been a lot of drama. The girlies got a lot of drama. Julia's stuck in the middle. It is a lot going on. And I'm excited. It's very, very, very messy. Very messy. But it's also very good stuff. And so I'm personally excited to see where this continues to go. This story with Micah and Suzu, obviously. Suzu is going to face Tam Nakano in November rather than the December 29th Grand Queendom show, which could suggest that, you know, she's not going to actually have, she's not going to win, essentially, versus Tam. But I do think that, you know, with this going on, I think that Micah, hopefully, if she doesn't beat Tam for the World of Stardom Championship, I hope that for Dream Queendom that we are built on December 29th, that we are maybe that show that's supposed to be right before Wrestle Kingdom. I hope that we are building to a death match between Micah and Suzu, because I feel like they would absolutely kill it. And, you know, a good grudge feud, I think those two will actually kill that stipulation match. Because I feel like sometimes stipulation matches in Stardom just really don't hit. Just depending on what it is. Some of them do, don't get me wrong. But like some of the steel cage matches have been some of the best steel cage matches I've ever seen. But sometimes the stipulations don't hit. But I think that with those two would really, really connect. And so I'm really excited for them. And we had Micah. We had Mina and Suri in a UWF rules match. Mina came out with her hair braided back like Hiroshi Tanahashi in the G1 Climax in 2018. It was really great. And, you know, the girlies, they were hitting hard. Suri is not new to this. She's true to this when it comes to, you know, MMA and wrestling. And so obviously heading into this, I kind of like knew that Mina wasn't going to win, but I was really proud of her. She really put up a great fight against such a pro like Suri. And Mina's just come such a long way. She's on my short list for Women's Wrestlers of the Year this year. And also, I've said it once, I'll say it again. At any given moment, based off of skill and skill alone, Suri is always the best women's wrestler in the world. And so, seeing these two come together was really great. I'm not sure if they're going to like continue this or down the line, but it was really cool to see Mina continue to push herself out of her comfort zone and just become a better wrestler in so many different styles. And she just never disappoints me. Neither of these women never disappoint me, and the match was really good. And lastly, we had Tam Nakano versus Natsuko Tora, who had a very, very, very noteworthy and outstanding 5-star GP reign. 5-star GP performance, even though she didn't win. She racked up those wins, and she racked them up very early. And one of those wins that entitled her to a title shot was pinning the World of Stardom Red Belt champion in Tam Nakano. So they finally had their match. And of course, do you believe in Tam? Because I do. And I'm glad that I do. Because once again, she came out on top. You love to see it. And so, but that brings me to another thing. This was also brought up. Well, no, this should have been brought up, because it wasn't brought up in the joint presentation, but it should have been brought up. The fact that Stardom schedule is so dense and so tightly condensed to the point to where it is negatively having such a negative impact on the roster. Stardom is trying to have even more shows than they're already doing. Like, these women are always on the road. If they're not wrestling, they're traveling. If they're not traveling, they're wrestling. They're wrestling back to back to back to back to back. And talent isn't being cycled in and out in a way to make this sustainable. And also, in the midst of their tournament versus like the G1 Climax, in the G1 Climax, all the wrestlers that are wrestling the G1 are only wrestling the G1. That's it. It doesn't matter if they're champions. It doesn't matter if they're holding something else. Like, during the G1 Climax, they're only doing the G1 Climax. And then afterwards, they get a break afterwards. Sort of like the same thing with Best of the Super Juniors for, the junior heavyweights. These women in Stardom are not only wrestling the most prestigious women's wrestling tournament in the world, but they are still having shows in between. And for people who are champions, they are still actively having title defenses, long, strenuous, physical singles matches in the meantime, while doing a very long, strenuous, physical tournament over the course of 2 years. And so it's become very, very obvious that something needs to change, because look who's been added to this injury list, aka the World of Stardom champion in Tam Nakano. And so Tam is now injured. She's going to be out of commission like for the upcoming weekend. Hopefully it's just that, and that she doesn't have any long-term injuries, because it would suck for her reign to end in this way. But the schedule is not working for these wrestlers. They are outstanding, but they need a break and they need some time off. And it's very clear that these injuries are piling up. And these are five big stars for Stardom that are currently out of commission right now. And we have Starlight Kid, Saya Kamatani, Yutami Hayashishita, Natsupoi, and now the world, who is one half of the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Champions. And now you have the World of Stardom champion is now injured as well. Something needs to change, and something has to change fast, because literally the roster is dropping like flies. And last but not least, obviously we had Title Tuesday. AEW and NXT went up head to head, and chaos ensued, obviously. You know what I was watching? I was watching AEW Dynamite, and it didn't disappoint. It was a really great episode. My favorite highlights were obviously the opening match. We had the prides of Washington State, Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson, a first-time matchup that did not disappoint. When we started that match off, and it was like Swerve was really grappling, going grab for grab with Bryan Danielson, doing technical wrestling. I said, oh my gosh. And then they did a little bit of everything in that match, and it was just amazing. I feel like even though he lost, Swerve looked like a bigger star than ever before. And of course, having Hangman involved, just continues their feud. Speaking of Hangman, there was an excellent match between him and Jay White. They have a lot of history. And listen, the girlies love this match. Tumblr went up for this match, and Tumblr is still going up for this match. And it was amazing. Hangman Adam Page is a man. He continues to remind us that he is a man. His moonsault is beautiful. And he just floats in the air, but hits hard, and he just gets it. And then you have Jay White, who has been outstanding since getting to AEW. He literally is untouchable on the mic, and then he's untouchable in the ring. There's nothing more you can ask for. And also, he looks really, really, really great with that AEW World Championship. And, I hope that MJF never gets it back. And I hope that he loses at Full Gear. And I hope that Jay White is the official AEW World Champion. I'm sorry, that's just what it is. There was also the in-ring debut of Adam Copeland. Obviously, I was very excited about this after a blistering promo by Christian Cage, because he's the best in the business. And it was absolutely outstanding and phenomenal. And I love this feud more and more as it goes. I don't care what the ratings are. Like, this is my dream. Was my dream as far as, like, growing up. I've always loved these guys, Edge and Christian. And so, like, to see them finally being portrayed like as equals, as singles wrestlers, means the world to me. And also, yeah, Edge, my goat, beat the allegations. Okay, he beat the allegations. And Adam Copeland versus Luchasaurus slapped as a match, and y'all owe that man an apology. I'm just saying, you don't have to rush, but I'm just saying y'all owe him an apology. I'm excited to see, what other matches he's capable of. Like, he really went into his Duffy for that one, and I'm really thankful for it. And then last but certainly not least, Hikaru Shida is the AEW Women's World Champion again, and all is well. She is the first 3-time Women's World Champion, alongside Jon Moxley is the first 3-time AEW World Champion, and it's rightfully so. The true aces of the promotion have held the top titles 3 times, and as they should. This is only for important people, okay? And I'm really excited she defeated Saraya, because this reign sucked and it was pointless, and it honestly should have never happened in the first place, but it's over, and I hope that we never have to talk about this again. And I want to say shout out to Toni Storm for being absolutely just incredible, continuing to kill it. She was honestly the focal point, one of the focal points of Dynamite. Her vignettes, and she came out during the women's match. She came for Ruby Soho, getting ready for her close-up. She had silent films during the commercial break, which I thought was so genius, and I thought that was just so, like, smart. So shout out. I think there's a lot of great things happening in AEW. And I'm excited to see what's next. I was really pleased by Dynamite, and I think that we're really getting back to the heart of what the company's actually supposed to be. And, like, hey, like, this is a wrestling-focused product. It's not going to be for everybody. Some people are not going to, this is not going to be their cup of tea, and that's okay. But I think that as long as you're catering to those fans that do really love wrestling and do really love what you're doing, and I think that that's going to pay off one day. Like, you might have, sometimes you got to take an L to get a W down the line. Like, so Keek says that all the time. Like, sometimes you got to take an L to get a W down the line. And so I feel like that's, what we experience a little bit sometimes at AEW, especially over the last, couple months before All Out. And so I'm excited for what's next. Obviously, we're on the road to Full Gear, and thank God for that. And there's just so much happening. There's the Dynamite Diamond Ring tournament that's going to be next week. So there's a lot going on in the land of the dub. And so before I get off of here, I am going to answer any questions that you all have for me. I'm going through the chat. Hello, Eddie. Somebody said, Joseph said, at least Bullet Club Gold didn't get another gold. No, they did not. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Lucas. Joseph said, yeah, it was cool and insane to see them being 2/3 of Team TNA. Exactly. It was really good to see the Motor City Machine Guns in Japan. I hope we get to see them more before they, they decide to wrap their careers up. So I'm really excited. Yeah, I don't see exactly if Okada, Tanahashi, and Ishii are still holding those by Wrestle Kingdom, they're not going to defend them on that show. Maybe New Year's Dash, but definitely not that show. They probably want singles matches from those guys, or at least 1 or 2 of those guys, which is completely understandable. Maybe Eddie Kingston versus Okada at Wrestle Kingdom. That would be interesting. I don't know if Okada would challenge for the New Japan Strong Openweight title, but he's doing a whole bunch of new stuff, so maybe he will. And I think that would be exciting too. I think that would really elevate the belt if he did challenge for it. What was interesting is that just 5 guys just got a new member. Yes, they did, Yuya. It was such a fun excursion. It was such a fun excursion for Yuya. It's a great group for him. It fits his vibe. He doesn't need to be like Yoda. He doesn't need to be like Ren. He doesn't need to be like Shota. This is really good for Yuya, and I really hope that he finds himself and sticks to that. I really hope that Leo Rush is okay. I do too. He's absolutely amazing. Thought that they would have just done a singles match between Speedball and Hiromu. Nah, because they didn't want. I see why they didn't. Like, You want to save as much of the essence of that for down the line. I feel like they're two different energies, if that makes sense. Don't get me wrong, a Speedball versus Hiromu match would be incredible, but I do think like Leo has to get his singles match first before Speedball does. He should get a one-on-one at Wrestle Kingdom. Absolutely. Leo Rush, I agree. Gotta give the fans that original match. I completely agree. I'm excited too. Yes, Naito is hoping to be a four-time world champion and to main event the Dome. I'm rooting for TMDK when talking about the Super Junior Tag League. Yep, they're one of my favorites. First impressions, the Mighty Don't Kneel. That's what TMDK stands for. I only recently found that out a couple weeks ago. Yo and his partner had the champs October 21st. Yep. We're getting started early, so we're definitely going to find out who X is. I'm excited. We have about 10 days, so not too long. Our subculture, yeah, they would have been a good choice for Super Junior Tag League too. They've been killing it in Impact, as well as Rev Pro. Nick's in a high profile role on Dynamite. Not sure he would have been allowed to compete. I agree. Like he's in like one of the star programs at AEW right now. He couldn't go missing for like 3 weeks while Mayu is defending her title in Dallas. Do we think that is Mercedes Moné? I don't know. Like maybe they go for somebody new. Maybe they go for somebody from AEW like a Willow, or maybe they go for like maybe Stephanie, or maybe they try somebody from a different promotion. Who knows? Or maybe they run the rematch. But I think like right now, the money is really into like this Mercedes versus Julia thing. Like Mercedes, I think should be more focused towards the New Japan Strong Women's Championship going forward rather than going backwards for the IWGP Women's Championship just because she's already done that. So, and she's already faced Mayu. Like, obviously, they need to have a rematch, but I'm not sure if enough time has passed, especially with Mercedes as her injury has happened. Like, I feel like, we need significant time to go by, in my opinion. Looking forward to watching Mayu defend. Me too. Like, I wonder if Mercedes is challenger. Yeah, like I just said, I doubt it, but but at the same time, if it was, I think it'll be fine. Was it created so Rossi could get Mercedes or not? The championship was really created by Bushiroad. Rossi really had nothing to do with it. I don't think he really wanted the title to start with. I don't think Rossi is lost because Mercedes got hurt. I think Rossi is lost because all his wrestlers got hurt. Like, Mercedes was always just a extra wrestler he would have had to book. But she wasn't a long-term part of the roster. Like, like I said, she's technically a New Japan talent. She's not a stardom talent. So I don't know. I don't understand the difference between these belts. Don't worry, neither do the champions. Maybe Julia isn't scheduled to wrestle at New Japan Strong Lone Star Shootout. We don't know. I think we'll know more after the Fighting Spirit Unleashed show in Vegas. So we shall see. You see, like I said, she's defending versus Hyon in the co-main event. That's already been announced. That is co-main. That's really cool. They stack both cards up. It would be beneficial to both companies. Absolutely. Like, there's a good chance that, like, if they played their cards right between Stardom and New Japan on Wrestle Kingdom Day, they could knock this truly out of the park. And so I really hope they get it together. If I don't think New Japan would have gotten as they did if Mercedes didn't tell WWE to shove it. From the international audience, definitely not. 2 women's titles were created just for Mercedes. Yeah, her power is insane and it's well-deserved, and she deserves all of it. And she's the real deal. She's the proof. She's money because the numbers don't lie. She is a draw. What did you hope for a historic crossover too? Oh, this is a really good question. I want more dream matches. Like, I just want more dream matches. Like, I want more dream matches. I want people to team up. And I want this to feel like a big deal. And honestly, I wish that they would do it in the US. Like, I wish that they would do at least, and maybe not this year, but maybe in the future, like one iteration of it could be in the West. But I just want this to feel like a big deal. And I don't want the women of Stardom to feel like a big deal. And I want this IWGP Women's Championship to actually feel like it's a part of the IWGP. Wish they'd done more with Kyrie in the IWGP Women's title. I do too, but part of me thinks like they couldn't afford her on a regular basis. So maybe that's it. May is so good at such a young age. I know, right? She's just amazing, and she's only getting better. And so I'm really happy for her that now that she's the high speed champion. I was shocked that Hikaru Shida beat Soraya. I was too, but not for the reasons that like maybe other people were. I think that I was surprised because I didn't think that TK was going to pull the trigger. Like I mean, I think obviously it was something that I wanted. I think that a lot of people wanted, but I was scared that he was just going to be like, well, oh well, I promised her this, and so I need to keep the belt on her. But I'm glad that he did, pull the trigger and put the belt back on Shida because Shida, one, deserves a long term reign, and two, like Soraya just was not it. That wasn't happening. Adam beat that dinosaur. He sure did. Absolutely. And then they had the brawl for all at the end of Dynamite where everybody fighting and Brian Danielson choking out Christian Cage and with Adam Copeland watching on in the background. It was really ghetto, but it was also very hilarious. They could have done more with Soraya's win. I'm sorry. I think she got it back to shut up those fans. That bitch that Soraya didn't beat her at all in. No, I think that TK only intended on getting like the quote unquote cheap hometown pop in Wembley, putting the title on Soraya for that, and hopefully using it as a carrot to dangle in front of Mercedes' face or something. But she was still injured, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, when it comes to Soraya, like the thing is, fans had never really asked for her to be champion. She doesn't have wrestling ability to the point to where everybody's like, oh, I need this dream match. I need this dream match. Like she hasn't really wrestled to that point in AEW where anybody has really been anticipating her for her matches or anything like that. And also, I just don't feel like she's really connected with fans to where people would want her to be a champion over somebody like Hikaru Shida, who is the ace and who has really just put the whole team on her back so many times. And I think especially like Sheeta's really been doing a lot of work to become like the overall ace too. Like she really worked on her English. She really started worked on her English so she could start doing that American and English press and like just be around and be more for the and be around for the company in different ways than she was before. Like she's always been an amazing wrestler, but she's been working really hard. Tony Monroe is the reason Mercedes. It's not Mercedes. It's the reason Soraya lost. Yes, kayfabe, she is. That makes a lot of sense. And I feel like they didn't do enough with that feud, and so I think that to really build Soraya for her to ever be even considered to be women's world champion, I feel like they're gonna have to like have her in substantial feuds and let she's just gonna have to learn how to sink or swim, without having her hand held. And maybe working with Tony and this gimmick, maybe that's gonna be it. I don't know. But right now I just don't really see it. So I'm really glad she came up off the belt. But the musical chairs with the international title continue. I don't think that was supposed to happen though. Like, it did happen and obviously it has hot potato, but not on purpose. Like you gotta think. Mox got injured. Nobody expected him to get injured. So that's how Ray Phoenix became champ. But then Ray Phoenix technically get injured. And so they had to get the belt up off of him. But Mox wasn't clear because he's still injured. And so Orange Cassidy had to put the belt back on because he's the only person who made sense and storyline for to have the belt if Ray Phoenix wasn't going to have the belt because Mox, when he comes back, is obviously going to be looking for the belt. And him and Mox already had beef, so he's the only person that made sense. Like, don't get me wrong, like in a perfect world, none of us would have wanted all this flip flop. But I mean, this wasn't like TK changing his mind. This was like injuries actually forcing his hand to change the card, and I think that's a completely different thing. So, like, yeah. Samoa Joe is wrestling against Willie Mack on AEW Collision for Ring of Honor World Television Championship. I can't wait to see it. I like those guys, both of those guys. I think Willie Mack is awesome. And so I'm super excited. Super excited about that. How about Maya Iwatani versus Trish Adora or Mariah May? Mariah May for IWGP Women's Championship. I think both of those matches would be great. Mariah May, we don't know what's going to happen with her future. A lot of rumors that she's going to AEW, but nothing has been confirmed yet. But Trish Adora is a member of New Japan Academy. And so, you know what? I would love to see, Trish get a big shot like that at one of these New Japan titles, because she's been working really hard all year. Like, she completely uprooted her life, moved out to LA for the dojo. She's been killing it. She looks better every time I see her. Shout out to everybody who was at the Revolver Women's Grand Prix. I should have put that on the slide deck, but it was a great show this past weekend. Some great women were on there. Emi Sakura, Trish Adora. There was Billy Starks, who ended up winning the whole thing. There's just Rachel Armstrong, who I saw for the first time, Allison Kay. There were just some really great wrestlers from top to bottom. And so I was really pleased to see that show and see Jon Moxley just stand up for pro wrestling like he always does. And Renee Paquette, that 3-woman commentary team with Gia Miller, Veda Scott, and not Jon Moxley, and Renee Paquette was absolutely amazing. I would love to hear these women commentate a pay-per-view one day. Shout out to Fight Plus for making it possible for people even watching from home like me to watch that show. It was really, really awesome, and it was just a taste of what women's wrestling in the U.S. could be. Specifically in the West could be. Like, I think that this was just such a great taste, and I would love to see like a bigger tournament with all signed talent. Like, I think that AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact, and New Japan could really do something special. Sort of like a women's version of the All-Star Junior Fest that we saw earlier this year in Philadelphia. Do that. I think that's a great idea. Would you like to see Marina Shafir wrestle? Oh, yeah, she was also in the Revolver Grand Prix, went to the final, lost to Billy Starks, and broke her Revolver undefeated streak, but absolutely outstanding performance, and I think that that's the best that I've ever seen her wrestle, and I hope to see that part of her as a wrestler translate online. I mean, not translate online, but translate that to on TV and AEW, because if she can put that in a bottle and hold that and continue to hone that, she's going to be unstoppable. So shout out to Marina Shafir. That's awesome. I would like to see her wrestle at Tokyo Joshi Pro. I think that TJPW will be a great place for her to get some reps in, and just continue to hone her craft and get better. Fightful Select. Yeah, I heard that he was having visa issues too, so it was an accident, it wasn't supposed to happen. Mox got injured, so it is what it is. Nobody really expected nor wanted the title to hot potato, but we just are where we are, and so hey, it is what it is. What do you think Nakajima ceiling would be if he did join New Japan? I would say Intercontinental Champion. Once they officially make this U.S. belt the Intercontinental Championship again, like it seems like they're on the right way to. But if not, the U.S. heavyweight belt. I think that's, which is a very high ceiling, by the way. That's the number 2 title in the company. So I think that that's a very, very, very high ceiling. I'm not sure. I don't think he'll get the world champion simply because, I feel like New Japan has a long line of people who've been waiting for a while to be world champion. And, I'm not sure if he can skip the line, but maybe he can. And I think he's more than worthy. He is world champion caliber. And so, yeah, I think he has a high ceiling. And I think that he would be great in New Japan. I hope that's where we see him. And last question, what do you think Stardom can do to make scheduling not as hectic as this year on the talent? More breaks. And honestly, if they're going to do 5-star, they need to just be doing 5-star. trying to throw in all this these extra events and these in between is very money hungry, and honestly it's just breaking down the talent because they're wrestling full out all the time. Like they're not like phoning it in like some wrestlers do on house shows. They're always on, like they're always giving their all, they're always neck bumping, doing crazy shit on the outside. Like that's just how they're performing, and so it's not sustainable for the long term, and we're seeing that with the injuries. So I think that there should be more breaks, and also like they should stop stacking all these tournaments because we go from the 5-star the 5-star straight into Goddess Tag League, and from Goddess Tag League we go straight into Triangle Derby, we go to Dream Queendom, then we go to Cinderella Tournament, and we just repeat this cycle over and over again, and it's so dense, and it's just not sustainable. Look at Mariah May. Yes, 99 matches this year before she left, and she didn't even do a full year. 99 matches is insane, and she did more matches than just about anybody this year. So yeah, it's just really dense. But yeah, that's all the questions that I've seen in the chat. Thank you all for tuning in and joining me. I have a very special interview that will be dropping next week that I'm super excited about, and I'm excited for you all to watch. But thank you to everybody who's been supporting me and supporting my work. There's so many cool things that are coming up on the horizon, and I can't wait for everybody to be able to see it. I'm really looking forward to all of the projects that I'm working on. In the meantime, in between time, if you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you can find me at Lyric Wrestling. And you can also find me on YouTube. It's just my first and last name, Lyric Swin. You can find my YouTube channel. That's where you can find all these episodes. You can also find my highlight reel from Wrestle Dream of all the questions that I got to answer. Thank you all for supporting that video. It's a 19-minute long supercut of all the questions that I got in. It was that, who all did I get to ask questions to? Adam Copeland, Swerve Strickland, Orange Cassidy, Katsuyori Shibata, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Christian Cage, Chris Statlander, and I think that's all. So yeah, and Tony Khan. So make sure that you tune in to all the content that I am working on. Subscribe, turn your notifications on. It's going to be a really fabulous end of the year. And also, I know I need to get to work soon with my end of the year matches of the year list. Trust me, I have stuff written down. I just need to get it together and put it in a way that is publishable. But once again, thank you so much to everybody who supports me. And I look forward to chatting with you all again next week. Bye.